I would have called
Reached the end of the 2040 level. The blinds are going up. 2550 with a 5K ante.
545.
If you heard Nick right there, he says, "I wish you would have just shoved. I would have called anyway." And my guess is the rest of what he was saying was, but it probably wouldn't have been as painful.
Yeah,
is the way it just happened.
You're right.
That's good.
I do think you're right though, James. When you don't shove there, you give just the tiniest shred of possibility that someone can get away from a hand like ace-8.
I can get back in the fetal position.
Whereas I think if you shove, you get called every time.
The blinds are up this hand, right?
It shoved the hand directly before, so at least you're making people think that maybe getting a little bit chip loose.
Right.
I was going to say that Doc Sands has been pretty quiet this final table. We've only actually seen 10 hands. It just feels like it's been going on for longer than that.
He can afford to play this quiet, to be fair. I mean, he's got an absolutely phenomenal stack at the moment. What is it? 6.5 million.
Dealer Michelle's been replaced by Dealer Jessica.
iPad. Did Dan Shack take my iPad?
Yeah. Did he really?
Plus EV if you're going to take Nick Schulman's iPad. That's what I say.
Can we just get a correction to the graphic? The 8th place paid $228,960 plus Nick Schulman's iPad.
Yeah, here. I'll get you his number.
Doc Sands folds his button.
Should probably give me a walk in return, I assume. I mean,
you assumed wrong, Scott Seaver. You're not getting a walk.
Unreal.
Now Scott might call fairly wide here after he texts someone, which seems odd. But Nick's going to be raising a very wide range, so Scott's, of course, going to be calling with a wide range.
Okay.
He is dominated.
Just trying to help my man out here.
Yeah, what man were you trying to help by texting, Scott?
Scott
does pair his 3.
He's trying to text Shaq to get the iPad back.
Oh, right. Doesn't look good, though, when you're facing a raise. Check on the flop. Schulman picks up a gut shot. Now reverse dominated. Scott maybe just wants to see a showdown with this 3. Schulman checks again. Scott does just take the cheap showdown. The tray ball is good. James, I'm kind of having a hard time remembering back to 5 minutes ago.
Well, don't worry, we're going to recap the early action for those of you who've just joined us here on PCA Live. If you just thought, you know what, I'll start watching kind of half an hour in, I won't miss anything dramatic. Oh, you did, because in the first 7 hands, we lost 3 players. First to go in a 3-way all-in situation was Dan Shack. Next, Vladimir Troinovsky ran his 10s into aces. And then Greg Jensen, who was crippled in that 3-way all-in hand by Scott Seaver, bust in 6th.
You know, I feel really bad for whoever the next player is to get it in good, because I'm about to say, James, we have yet to see a brutal suck out. And with all those all-ins, you think we would have had 1 already.
Now, there's been 2 backdoor straight draws that have almost come in. So maybe the next time.
Almost doesn't count.
Scott Seaver agrees. Oh, who's everyone saying hello to over there? My guess is it's a lady.
Phil Gruesome gets a walk in the big blind there. Hand number 12 of this final table. And hello to everyone who is tweeting in, telling us where in the world you're watching. We've got Portugal, we've got the Netherlands, we've got people all over the world. We've even got someone who thinks they're watching a tournament from Mexico. Diego says enjoying the action from Mexico.
Diego, Mexico, story checks out.
Alex tweets to say, watched the EPT8 Monaco Grand Final Nip Fest the other day. Night and day compared to this. Thank you for the entertainment.
It wasn't a lady they were waving at, it was Lucky Chewy, Andrew Lichtenberg.
Well, to be fair, I mean, you know, 601.
Well, bearded lady, perhaps.
In level 1 of the tournament.
Sporting a bit of facial furniture these days.
Lucky Chewy, who thought it was 30,000 miles.
She was going to come by. I saw her on the way down here.
No, was it 300,000 miles around the Earth, I believe? What's his guess? And what does Lucky Chewy think? A few years ago here at the PCA.
They were literally all
Quick hello to Matt Harris, who says, shout out from Loughborough University in England. A couple of us degenerate poker players watching PCA Live while we should be working hard. We're not going to judge.
You hooked up to Wi-Fi?
Maybe applaud, but not judge.
Joe, I think we need another round of your what
How much does it cost?
Yes.
Atlantis edition. Okay, here we go. We're still in Starbucks. How much does a single serving size of Yoplait yogurt cost? Now, I don't know, do you guys have that exact brand in the UK?
Yes, we do.
That same size?
It's about, what, 125 mil?
I don't know what mils are, but I know
Middle
that
East.
it's about 4 spoonfuls.
Get used to it, buddy.
I don't do the metric system. I'm going to have apps for that. But, yeah, I think it's about 3 or 4 spoonfuls of yogurt. How much does that Yoplait yogurt cost with the foil top?
Tweet your answer using the hashtag PCALive. The first 5 entries will be considered. Remember, it's the nearest who doesn't go over. Price of right rules do apply.
So your guess of $75, while hilarious, shall not be counted.
Oh, you can drink anyways, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying it's
Do
less than
anything, but then drink
$75.
Spoiler alert.
Giving it away.
Less than $75.
That last hand raise and take it for Scott Seaver. Chris asks, how much of a delay is there on the feed? Keep up the good work, guys. We're seeing the pictures 40 minutes after they happen. So we're commentating live. You're hearing the words as they come out of our mouths, but the pictures took place 40 minutes ago.
You know, we should mention, too, that as Scott Seaver slowly climbs up on the chip leader here, Scott Seaver is a very dangerous player. Him having chips, you know, is as good as some of the other, definitely akin to some of the other less experienced players having massive amounts of chips. You know, Scott could end up being a real threat to Doc Sands without even ever overtaking him as a chip leader, you know, until it actually happens, until they get into a big confrontation together. You know, Scott having chips is just something that none of these guys want to see happen.
Sure, but Doc Sands has still got the absolute god seat here at the moment. He's got a position on the 2 other decent-sized stacks of Shulman and Seaver.
Okay, first 5 entries on the yogurt question. Tirani says $7. Sander says $3.50. Sven says $5.50. Matthias says $15. And Ruben says $5.
Bing, 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 bing. James, that sound effect means that someone has guessed the exact amount of the yogurt, as you say, at Starbucks here at the Atlantis. Sander, 2 for 2.
Wow.
Nailed it. $3.50. Sander, we'll be seeing you at the Showcase Showdown.
I hope he gets to play that fun game where the little guy goes up the mountain.
Oh, what's that one called?
And there's the yodel, yodel,
Yep.
as he goes up there.
Something about the Alps. I can't remember. No, maybe it's mountain something. Dang it. Why didn't I pretend to be sick more often so I could watch that show and remember the answer to this?
By the way, if some of you out there are wondering why we're only occasionally seeing hole cards, it seems that the players are reticent to show their hole cards until the hand is over. So they appreciate the information has to be recorded for TV, but they don't want to show the cameras until the end of the hand.
That sounds like something that Mr. Scott Seaver would be behind. That he would say, hey guys, look, they're going to give us a hard time, make a show afterward, but if we don't show till after, we can. If we all do this together, we can get away with it. Sounds like a Seaver move to me.
Do you want to go out there and slap him?
Well, yeah, but not because of that. Just in general.
Controversial.
So just to recap the action, it was a raise from Doc
Slap
Sands.
him on the back for being such a great poker player, that is.
Called by Scott Seaver in the big blind, and Seaver has don't bet the flop, 145,000.
Now, if I could see hole cards, I could be omniscient and say what he's trying to do here. Typically a donk bet, you're looking for a fold or you're looking for a raise. Just hope Scott Seaver got exactly what he wanted since he took away our hole cards. By the way, I have no actual evidence that this was Scott Seaver's doing.
That's the way we like it.
Yeah, exactly.
But he is wily and
There's
a ginger.
Will trying to get a peek at your stack. Keeps.
Colin says, watching the PCA Super High Roller final table in a 7-Eleven parking lot on my Android phone. I love technology.
We're on phones now?
Oh, yeah.
I think technically me being on some people's phones may violate my parole in some cases.
A reminder that we will give you that free roll password a bit later on. Please don't ask for it. We will give it out when it's time. Granted, if we think this final table is going to finish in 15 minutes' time, we'll make sure you get the password. And yes, Matthias, the players do have their phone to the table, and if they want hole card information 40 minutes after it's happened, they can get that information.
I'll go tell them myself. No, I can't do that. But anyone else who's watching can. It's all out there for the taking.
And thank you to Loot the News, who's just tweeted the cliffhanger game. Unresolved Price is Right trivia.
I don't understand. We said it. Someone nailed it. It was Sander. He's 2 for 2.
Yeah, what are you, around 30 bigs?
Unless they're asking how much the movie Cliffhanger on DVD, starring Sylvester Stallone and Janine Turner,
I
cost.
asked what the name of the game with the going up the mountain was, and he answered it.
Oh,
the cliffhanger game.
That doesn't sound right.
Anywho, Doc Sands raised pre-flop. Gruesome defended from the big, and a check, a bet, and a fold.
Takes it down with a pair and a gut shot.
So Rick, what wonders have you guys cooked up
3 or 4 of us left and we just all
to
beat
mark
each other
the
dinner
fact
break?
that this is the
Can we do
10th
that, or
ever
is it
PCA?
mandatory? Okay.
Loads of things, most of which escape my mind right now. However, one thing. Oh,
thank heavens we didn't send you in here to plug the PokerStars blog.
No, of course not. I've got a long and detailed list in front of me.
I can see his
don't
list.
worry.
There are 4 things on it, and they're 1 word each.
Yeah, pretty much. There's something going on today and tomorrow for anyone that is here at the PCA. They don't need to be a player. They could be a other half or father, mother, daughter. We are giving away 2 tickets for 2 for a trip with the Dolphins.
What?
I know. And so you can just go to the PokerStars blog to check that out. But it's a photo pimp-off competition. That is the actual name of it.
You've got my interest.
Yes. And it's well, there's 2 separate competitions actually. There's one that the blog's running for the Dolphins, and you can send in little tweets, things to amuse us, and anything that we think amuses us, we'll reward with the Dolphin competition. There is also...
Wait, you're going to give away a trip to the Dolphins to anything that you think amuses you?
No, just the best.
Oh, the best
Just
of
the
those.
best.
Okay.
And
I was going to say, your guys' budget's outrageous.
Yep. No, you can go along and watch. We'll let people go and watch it, but only to actually get to take part. And the other is the photo pimp-off competition, details of which can be found on pokerstarsblog.com. And the best photo from the PCA will get a $1,000 side event seat, which is pretty sweet.
Now, is there any way to win an actual dolphin?
Can you buy a dolphin for $1,000?
No.
Can you buy a dolphin?
Probably not.
For the first place prize from a $1,000 side event? I think perhaps you could.
We are not going to give away a dolphin, but we do have several cans of shady tuna.
I take it that's not the brand name.
No, it is actually.
By the way,
shady tuna.
Twitter has come alive with people saying that that game was definitely called Cliffhanger, and August wants to hear the yodeling again. Yo-lo-lo-lo-lo. I have to do the hand going up the mountain.
Yeah, that was awesome, James. That was really good. By the way, if you guys caught the show from the very beginning, that stuff before the opening titles package, totally improvised by James Hardigan. I saw it. He had nothing written down in front of him.
It was on my screen.
Oh.
I did write it though.
Way less impressive.
Way to peel back the curtain, Stapes.
Well, you didn't have to unpeel it back.
Well, I just feel I don't like taking credit for something I haven't done.
Oh, I do. Oh, do I? That tuna dolphin joke, totally not mine. I have a team of writers. Thanks, guys. See you at the BAFTAs.
Doc Sands has made it 135,000. Shulman with the decision in the big blind.
Have to expect we're going to see at least a call here. It's the chip leader. It's small to big. You think you're going to be ahead most of the time. That looks like a 3-bet.
Yes.
What do you have total, Nick, please?
2.6 to start.
He's re-raised to 300,000. Sands gets a count. And we now know one of Doc's cards. It's the 6 of spades. you reckon it's another 6 or the ace of spades?
I think those are the two most likely candidates, but I think small to big, it could be any 2 cards.
Maybe he doesn't have the 6 of spades.
So I just said any 2 cards because I knew that 6 of spades, maybe not even it. We are nearly positive that Doc Sands has 2 cards. And when we get confirmation on that.
Yeah, someone asked earlier on for clarification of the incident. There was a hand during last year's PCA main event involving Carl Julius and John DeBella when they were heads up, where we got one of Carl Julius's hole cards wrong.
It was the most exciting hand in all of poker, televised poker history.
Ever.
And it was wrong.
Hence why we now employ a degree of skepticism.
Kyle Julius tanked forever with a worse trips and ended up folding. I turned the entire live commentary room upside down, celebrating the best fold I'd ever seen in my life, and it turns out Kyle Julius had tanked folded
I can show you.
with bottom pair. All right, let's see what Doc Sands did in fact have.
I have a tissue, Scott.
I don't know if he's folding 2 6s or ace 6 there. Let's see it. What was the actual price of the showcase? We have confirmation that Nick Schulman's 3-bet was 300,000. And he won 155,000. And there we go, day 1A. Speaking of the cliffhanger game.
You can see Sam Grafton in the main event there.
Throw him back to me.
Guy with the big hat. Big white
We're
hat.
going to start our TV coverage of the main event from tomorrow, following it through from day 1B to the conclusion. And then we will bring you the final table of that event next Sunday.
We've got an answer to the cliffhanger game, which is what did Doc Sands raise fold there? It was 5-6 suited. And I think you can maybe justify even a call there with 5-6 suited. But, you know, as you said, he really doesn't have to do much right now.
No, I mean, he's still
People are going to put up resistance. You know, you see a lot of people give away chip leads that way.
So, do we know that he definitely had 5-6 suited?
5-6 suited, yeah,
or is
that's
that
we got confirmation from the booth.
from the big? But I'm surprised he didn't defend. In position.
Right, exactly.
A lot of people asking Joe if we're going to be playing any tournaments at the PCA.
Oh, yeah, loads.
Several reasons. Number 1, don't have the money. Number 2, not good enough. Number 3, we're not allowed to. We cannot gamble while we're here in the Bahamas.
I usually start with not allowed. People are like, so you playing the main? You playing the main stage? I'm like, I would. Not allowed, illegal. First of all, illegal because of Bahamian working law.
Yep.
Second of all, the players all took a vote. They don't want me in.
But possibly not for the reasons you think. Now, I don't know how much you've talked about the lead up to the final table.
We've talked about a couple of key hands, but not much other than that.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, if people are interested in finding out what happened on day 1 and day 2, to go to the PokerStarsBlog.com. There's a widget on the right-hand side, which takes you to the Super High Roller coverage. And you can check out on all of the live action and a lot of news and views and interviews, wraps of the day if you just want to go for the light version, which will get you up to speed in a couple of minutes.
I'm all in.
See ya!
The limp in the small blind, the raise from Gruesome in the big, and then the shove which gets a fold.
Looks very strong, that limp shove. My guess is Phil probably not in great shape against 2 5s anyway.
Couple of overs. I mean, this is an incredible show from Grissom again. He absolutely crushes these high rollers. He's done incredibly well on the EPT.
He has, and if you guys don't know much about Phil, I recommend going back and watching some of the Berlin coverage we did this past season on the EPT. You can check those out at PokerStars.tv. Phil Gruesome is a lot of fun to watch, and he gets a little tipsy during 1 or 2 of the episodes. He sings to a dealer. It's actually rather entertaining, so if you guys haven't checked that out, a lot of people ask me where they can see the EPT. If you don't catch it on TV, it's at PokerStars.tv, and it's more from James and I, and it's a little more polished than this. Well, I am at least. James, always quite polished, like a
shoe.
Like a statue.
So Shulman's raised to 100,000. Called by Scott Seaver on the button. Neither player is connected with this flop.
Shulman decides not to c-bet. Scott's got a hand that's going to be best here fairly often. And it looks like Scott's decided to try to take the lead here.
175,000. Hold for Scott. Oh, in the flop.
The door opens. Scott walks through it. Job done. Steven says, finally back from work. Time to watch PCA Live with the brilliant coverage of the Super High Roller Tournament. Remember, the hashtag is PCALive if you're on Twitter. Alternatively, you can email nuts@pokerstars.tv.
Curious about the old "I know what you're trying to do" line. What are you trying to do over there?
And 24 of the final table.
I know what you're trying to do.
Well, it sounds like Robbie may have called out some of these guys for not showing us their hole cards.
All of them.
Actually has been folded to the small blind. Gary Katz starts the hand with just over $1 million.
Now, Kerry also played the $1 million one-drop tournament, and he did not cash, but he did pledge to donate half of any winnings he had additionally to charity, in addition to the amount that was taken out of the prize pool. Shulman raised under the gun with ace-6. Katz has called out of position with king-7. Katz jumps out in front on this flop, pairing is 7. Shulman's got the power position. I think he'd have to continue here.
Does continue.
Katz should like hitting a pair here. Let's see if he does in fact like it.
No, he folds.
Wow.
Pairs is 7, but then folds to the c-bet from Shulman.
Barry Greenstein just fist pumped.
So Rick, I know you have to go soon.
Back into the throng of the tournament room, yes. However, there is one last thing I'd like to plug for the moment.
Please do.
Okay, I will do. We are running, or rather PokerStars is running Q&A sessions every morning here at Atlantis at the Players Lounge. They run at 11 AM. Today's was great. It was Daniel Negreanu and Jason Somerville about staking and the poker economy. I've done a small write-up of that on the PokerStars blog, and there'll also be a full 30-minute video coming in the coming days. And obviously we've got them for the next 3 days. And even if you don't want the Q&A, we're giving away a free breakfast there as well. So coffee and donuts.
You guys stole my idea.
Yes, we did. Well, last year you were giving away 1 cookie. We've gone upscale on
You had a
this.
bigger budget than I do. By the way, those cookies were $7 a piece.
Each, I'd imagine. Yeah, tomorrow it's the transition from No Limit Hold'em to mixed games with Barry Greenstein and Vanessa Selp. So if you're interested, do come along, and I'll see you there.
Rick last year, by the way, was my question angel. Whenever there's I was hosting those things last year. Whenever there's an awkward silence, Rick would ask a question. So I owe him a debt of gratitude.
But yeah, I only got 1 cookie. But I don't resent that.
I'll take care of you, buddy.
Well,
Biscuit,
thanks
as
so
you
much.
people say.
Scott Seaver opened under the gun with Queen 9. There's a 3-bet from the button. Carry Katz with Ace-Jack. Seaver in the tank. So we bid adieu to Rick Dacey, staff writer at the PokerStars blog. We're going to have another guest in just a moment. We're going to be joined by a PokerStars legend.
What? But I'm already here, James.
His official title is Head of Home Games, but he does oh so much more. Lee Jones will be with us very shortly here on PCA Live. So any questions you've got for Lee, you know what to do. Tag them at PCA Live on Twitter.
A new and improved svelte Lee Jones. Guy dropped 2 stone since the last time we saw him, which apparently is not a dirty word where you come from. Apparently it wasn't a horrible accident. In my country, you say you dropped 2 stone and things have taken a turn for the worse for you.
I don't want to know. Lewis says, can't get enough of the PCA, my favorite tournament of the poker calendar. And then an interesting tweet from Chris, who says, Doc Sands is way too funky for me. With that lead, he's going to have faith. He must avoid a careless whisper or wham and he's out. I think he's implying that Doc Sands looks like George Michael. He looks like a kind of mid-1990s George Michael.
Is that the reason he's not allowed to go to the bathroom unaccompanied? Phil Gruesom's raised under the gun of the Queen Jack. Seaver defends his big blind. Still not showing us full cards. Now you'd imagine Scott's defending a little more narrow considering Phil raised under the gun. But again, they're 5-handed already. And Phil Gruesome is a little live. Check, check on the flop. Scott's check to Phil again. Let's see if we see the delayed continuation bet. Check, check on the turn. 6 on the river. Scott looked like he was about to check as he strokes his chip like a long beard. He was just informed that his hand motion does somewhat resemble a check. Scott finally decides to take a stab at it. Will Phil hero with the queen high.
How often do you think queen high is good here?
I think it's good fairly often. I mean, Scott's a lot of the time I think is going to turn up with a 6 if he has a hand, and if not, queen high might be good.
I could, but it's not that interesting.
Scott's saying it's not interesting. Leads me to believe that it is interesting. We got a 7 under there. A 7?
Okay, I won't do it. I won't do
A
it.
deuce. It was a bluff. Queen high was good.
Wow. Greetings to John Peebles Jr. on Twitter. He says, just tuned in to watch PCA Live for the final table of the 100K. And where did all the players go? Well, it slowed down over the course of the last 20 hands, but the first 6 hands were crazy with 3 quick eliminations, taking us down to 5. The key thing being that Doc Sands still has the big chip lead. Scott Seaver second in chips with 3.2 million, but Doc Sands pretty much double that, 6.2 million.
Doc Sands been fairly quiet, not really flexing his chip leader muscle as much as you might think. Scott Seaver is limped. He did this last time. He limp shoved. This time, Phil has just checked the big blind. Hit top pair. Scott's hit bottom pair. Both these guys pretty likely to think a pair is good. Scott does check it. Phil bets his top pair. Couldn't blame Scott if he stuck around for one street. He does in fact call. Draw heavy board. Deuce doesn't change much. Scott's now got an all red draw.
Seaver's just received a text. Maybe it's news on the location of Nick Schulman's iPad.
It's Dan Shack saying, good luck, suckers!
160.
Gruesome bets.
Scott lets it go.
So Gruesome wins that one. Michael says, this table started so hot, but now the action is slowing down a little bit. And then we've got MC who says, shout out from Sweden, rooting for Siva. Well, it's Doc Sands who has the chip lead right now, and yesterday he won a ton of chips off Vanessa Selbst. Vanessa with 7-5 of diamonds, Doc Sands with ace deuce, including the ace of clubs. So there we go, a pair and a backdoor flush draw for Doc, and Vanessa with nothing bets. There's the nut flush draw for Doc. What does Vanessa do now? Well, she bets again.
Firing.
And then the river card, after Doc calls that turn bet from Vanessa, is another club. It's now the nut flush for Sands, and he checks a third time. He opens the trap doors. Vanessa shoves. He snap calls. Good night, Ms. Selbst.
Just nothing. Nice hand. Ace jack with ace clubs.
And Vanessa bluffs off a massive amount of chips. And I wish I could say that this wasn't a trend. You know, I had lunch with Vanessa and her fiance, her new fiance. They weren't engaged just yet, over Christmas time. And I said, Vanessa, I think you're such a great player. Now, far be it from me, I don't really think I'm qualified to give you advice, but I want you to find just like another gear that's just slightly less aggro, because every time I see you go broke, you're running some huge bluff and it's getting picked off. I know that bluffing's a part of the game, and again, I'm not a professional poker player, so who am I? But like, I just would love to see her not go out in that way one time.
An under the gun raise here from the chip leader, and a 3-bet from Phil Gruesome in the small blind. We know that Phil has ace-6 suited. We don't know Doc's cards yet.
You know, Doc's been playing fairly tight. Hasn't been running, raising a ton of hands. He raised under the gun here. Phil Gruesome, fairly fearless player.
Can you break down the greens for me, the non-500?
By the way, Alex says on Twitter, I don't mind Siva or the other players hiding their whole cards once in a while. Gives the viewers some variance and a sweat.
As long as they're all not hiding them all the time. Doc is contemplating something here. And like I said, you know, Doc hasn't been raising a ton. Maybe he's chosen this spot to finally start getting aggressive for no reason, but you know, just with the tank here. There we go. There's the reshove. Excuse me, reshove. The shove. Quick fold.
Folds, and now we should hopefully get to see Sands' cards. Pocket nines.
You know, again, we have the benefit of having seen all the hands, and we know that Doc really hasn't been getting out of line.
Extra try.
Yep. Figured you would at some point.
Just smack that. Take the chips and the talk. I like it.
We're glad you tried, Phil Gruesome.
9-1-1-5.
Raise, make it 115,000.
Raise from the cutoff makes it 115,000. So gives up his button, carry hold from the small.
Apologies if you lost the stream momentarily. Hopefully we should be back now.
Oh man, you should have seen what happened though while you were gone. It was ridiculous.
As long as you call him Scott Frankenberger.
No, he's talking about he called you Doc.
Oh, Doc, yeah. Oh, I thought he was asking if it was okay
And
if
of
we
course,
mixed in the phrase Scott wins the
You
spot
don't
every once in a
just
while.
have to watch on a
No,
computer
yes,
anymore.
you Doc.
You
Yeah, of
can
course.
now watch on your iPhone or Android device with the PokerStars TV mobile app. You know what, this morning I saw I had a little update on my iPhone in the App Store. I went in, downloaded that update, and there it was, plugging the fact that we were going to be live at 2 o'clock Eastern time with this live stream. So if I wasn't actually commentating now, I could be watching this on my iPhone.
Keyword being could.
Many of you asked when we did the live stream from Prague whether we'd be going mobile, and we didn't really have a time frame on it, but we got the mobile team working all over their Christmas holidays. We didn't give them a single day off, not even New Year's Day, and they got it working in time for the PCA.
My guess is it must have been a really, really easy project.
You had nines?
I had 2 9s, yeah.
Ha! Nice tweet actually from Chris. He says Vanessa Selp's blow up was so bad it broke the stream.
Wow, she blew up the T1 connection.
Not that you guys dropped, but he asked me. I said,
Jonathan!
Carries doubled, and I've taken the 3.
Monsieur Duhamel playing in day 1A of the PCA main event. Oh, by the way, for those of you whose stream blacked out before the end of the Selps hand, Vanessa shoved the river with no hand into the nut flush. He called, she took a walk.
You unbooked it?
If you want to know how I feel about plays like that by Vanessa, you should check out my most recent article in Bluff Magazine. I made a prediction for the year 2013 involving Vanessa Selps. And I won't spoil it for y'all, but it pretty much is exemplified by the play we just saw her make.
Those of you asking for us to re-show it, we'll try and do that a bit later on. Oh, what a surprise, the cameraman's on girlfriend watch.
Fiance Cam, hello.
So there is no, you don't have a bet on it? Oh, wow. Well, Dan tweeted at me and said you did. But, yeah.
Oh, I would just go with that one then.
Yeah, I would just assume it's booked.
Yeah,
And I haven't seen him in forever.
I guess you're more excited about the match than you thought.
Just ride this one to victory now.
Or Opie. Are you an Oppenheim person or an Oppenheim person, James? That, of course, David Opie Oppenheim.
I would say Oppen.
You're an Oppen? Then I'm going to say Open. Got both sides of the Atlantic covered.
I've got a great intro for Lee Jones.
I can't wait to hear it.
Lee will be with us in just a moment. Let's just check out this hand first. Hand 32 of the final table. Scott Seaver calling in the small blind.
Phil Gruesome looking to get cute. Because he is adorable.
Gruesome raises, and this time Seaver lays it down. He wasn't laying a trap like he was the last time he limped from the small. So let's introduce our next guest. He used to be in charge of Rake. Now he's as skinny as a Rake. It's Lee Jones, ladies and gentlemen, head of home games at PokerStars.
I wish there were an applause button for that intro, James, or a rim shot at the very least.
Gentlemen, it's good to see you, and it's good to be back. This is fun.
Lee, when was the last time we had the pleasure of your presence on a live stream?
I'm thinking like EPT years. You know, we're probably going back like, what, 5 years at this point or something.
Back to
like
when
that.
Michael Koenig used to host EPT was the last time he was on.
We won't bore you with war stories, but Lee was there in Copenhagen in 08. He saw it all.
Yeah.
He sat through every single Vance song and Soren Jensen rant.
Nancy!
Wow, that's good that you remember those names.
How can I forget? It's etched into my brain forever. I wake up in the middle of the night screaming about that.
We were on the air for 8 hours. You ought to know.
It's Tim Vance's world. We're all just living in it.
It's a five-handed action here at this final table. The $100,000 buy-in super high roller. Under the gun raise from the chip leader Doc Sands, folded round to the blinds. Phil Gruesome in the small.
Nick Schulman folds his suited ace.
You win.
Maybe paying more attention to the fact that Doc's been pretty tight. His last raise was 2 9s. This one, an 8.
So guys, I've just gotten here. Who's who's dominating the table and who's
Well, Doc Sands has all the chips. Scott Seaver had a lucky triple up earlier on, which has got him to second on the leaderboard. Obviously, all the action really happened in the first 7 hands, Lee. Since then, it's been pretty tight, to be honest with you.
Something like that.
3 fast eliminations, and we've been 5-handed since about hand 6.
I wonder if David Oppenheim is playing the open-face Chinese, or David Oppenheim is playing the open-face Chinese.
By the way, Lee, things haven't changed. People still beg, steal, and borrow to get that free roll
James, look, they have
password.
your iPhoto account up on the graphic board there. That was so cool. Did you see that? I hope whoever did that is a millionaire.
I am aware that some people have managed to get hold of the free roll password, or rather have guessed the free roll password, and are disseminating that information through third-party sources. So let me announce now that the password for that free roll, beginning a little later this evening, is Blom. B-L-O-M, lowercase. So in honor of the winner of this tournament last year, Victor Blom, he is the password. So that tournament begins.
Someone figured that out. They were just trying random passwords so they got to Blom.
Apparently, they have nothing better to do with their time.
I was going to say, I'm really happy to have you on our site and patronizing our services, but go outside, please.
Especially if you're at the PCA where it's 70 degrees and beautiful.
So 7:15 this evening, Eastern Time, that game begins. The $1,500 PCALive free roll. Blom is the password. You'll find it in the PCA section of the PokerStars tournament lobby. Blom, lowercase, B-L-O-M. So let's just recap the action here. Seaver's raise called by Sands, and Seaver's bet of 200,000 gets the job done on the flop.
Seaver did not have the best hand, but he was the favorite. Pretty decent flop for his hand. A lot of possibilities there. I just want to know if there's a possibility he can button up that next button.
Oh wow, this is an overshare tweet from Tully. Watching the live stream on my iPad in bed and I'm nude. This is fun.
That makes two of us. I'm just not in bed. Sorry, Lee.
Oh dear. Well, I was a little shocked when I first got here on the set, but it's all okay now.
The best part, no tan lines.
Hey, we're in the Bahamas, not Monte Carlo.
So Lee, what will your duties at the PCA be this year, or are you just on some work jolly?
If only I were on a work jolly. As a matter of fact, before I came down here, I hosted a Q&A session with Daniel Negreanu and Jason Somerville.
Oh, the bankroll.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was actually great fun. And of course, when you're working with Daniel and Jason, what you do is you go, "Hi, I'm Lee Jones," and you know, they're off to the races, and that's all.
It's good when you got two talkers up there. Try hosting the Russian player panel. Not the best grasp of English, and also not talkative people.
So is it just me, or is the guy in the effective one seat, does he look a little like Bobby Belandi?
What, Nick Schulman?
Yeah.
Yeah. No?
I guess in the
it's the baseball cap, yeah,
white
tall
guy with dark hair, and the fact that you outrank me at PokerStars so much that I agree with you.
Believe me, I never stopped anybody else before.
Yes, I totally see it. Totally see it, Mr. Lee Jones.
Andreas tweets to say, playing the bigs at PokerStars while watching PCA Live. Could the evening be better? I don't think so.
What does he mean by bigs?
The big tournaments, I guess. So those
we actually have tournaments that are called the big whatever.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
Well, I can't wait to refamiliarize myself. Pretty soon, I'll be back. I'll be donating weekly. I can't wait.
Any day now, Stapes. Any day now.
No, I'm moving to the UK, so I'll be back on there in a few weeks.
We need to get the news out there, because this could actually lead to a massive boost in traffic if they know that
the
your dead
second
money
poker boom
will be sitting on the cash tables.
I'm
Lee,
more of a tournament
have a
player,
minion prepare a press release. Doc Sands was sitting quietly by while all carnage kicked off during the first level of the day.
Oh, that's good.
And now he's taking control of this table and just increasing that chip lead back up to where he started the day, in fact, around 6.69 million. More than a 2-to-1 chip lead over Scott Seaver, who's second on the leaderboard. And as we saw from that full frame a short while ago, Carrie Cat still the short stack with around 18 big blinds.
But let's be very clear that with 5 players left, that short stack is worth, that having one chip in front of him is worth $400,000.
Yep. That's just an insane amount of money. 5th place, $400,000.
You're just noticing that, right?
It's like, you know what it is that you get sort of accustomed to
you
it.
do.
To the
You
big
get
dollar
inured,
amounts.
don't you?
Yeah, but
all
then
the zeros.
Occasionally, you'll just have like a moment
of clarity.
Right, and you're just like, wow, that is a lot of money. Oh, we could play how much does it cost for that banana. I got the banana price right here in front of me.
You will only see bananas at the final table of the Super High Roller because
That's
they're
right.
the only people who can afford to buy them.
They have to ship them all the way in from a mile away.
Banana, banana, banana.
Ace Jack for Doc Sands. He raises and he takes it. And for those of you who missed the password, including Lucas, who says, I went for a shower. Well, take your
He might be
mobile
one
with
of
you.
the only listeners who's showered today. Certainly not the guy that guessed the password was Blom. He's not showering.
But thank you for providing with the information, Joe. Blom is the password. Lowercase B-L-O-M is the password you need for that free roll. I think we should play another round of what does it cost?
How much does it cost?
So I keep getting the name of your competition wrong.
I
even
think
though
I've
it's very
changed the
simple.
name several times. So
fair enough.
I haven't taken the time to brand this stuff in a while. I'm sorry, Stape says how much does it cost? Are we going with the banana, the Starbucks banana? This is our last Starbucks.
The Starbucks banana cost number?
That's right. Now whoever's the closest without going over, first 5 guesses, how much does a banana cost at Starbucks here at the Atlantis?
You know there's people like running down to the Starbucks as we speak.
Well,
That's
they're
why
going
we're
to be
only
too
taking
slow.
the first 5.
First 5 answers. Remember, you need to use the hashtag PCALive if you're tweeting. Remember, Price is Right rules apply. You cannot go over the actual number. The nearest guess to the actual number without going over. First 5. Lee, do you want to tell us about the T-Coupe?
Yeah, that was one of our most recent inventions that came out of PokerStars Brian's crazy head. There was so much interest in turbo tournaments. He said, what if you had an entire festival of turbo tournaments? And everybody said, yes, only let's make them hyper turbos. And he said, not yet. So we have the T-Coupe, which is a festival of turbo speed tournaments. It's hugely popular, and it's coming up very, very soon. Now, did I see the 15th? It is starting. 17th, right. So just like basically 3 or 4 days after the PCA closes, you can jump in there. We've got $15 million guaranteed over the life of the tournament.
Can you guys please call the $2,100 big buy-in event the T-Coupe DeVille? Please? Sounds like a yes.
No dice. Scott Sievers opened under the gun. Made it 115,000. He's got ace queen, and Nick Schulman has just 3-bet from the big blind. 315 total. 9-10 off.
Can't really imagine Scott's folding.
Looks like a call in position. So heads up to the flop.
Always bizarre when UTG is in position.
And that flop gives Siever top pair. Go with the 7s on board.
Let's see if Nick continues.
Scott's thinking, come on, bet. Please
Please bet.
You know you want to do it.
Barry Greenstein wants you to do it. I want you to do it.
The guy on the camera that is watching this scene at the moment is thinking, you need to bet.
You got to C-bet. Barry, of course, the huge proponent of the C-bet. He invented it, if you ask him.
Yeah, really?
Along with the internet and the printing press.
No, Al Gore did that.
I'll tell you what, if Nick Schulman's going to take this long, I'm going to put in some banana guesses. Alex says $1.
Alex has not been to the Atlantis very much.
Alex at least hasn't gone over, so he's in the lead so far.
Well, Sander, who currently won the first 2 rounds, goes 25 cents.
Sander, I don't know what you're thinking, but no.
Ruggie says 50 cents. The real Faden says $1. And Pascal says $3.45.
Well, at least Sander hasn't won for a 3rd time in a row. Pascal, you are the closest without going over. $3.45 is your guess. $3.75 for a banana. For literally one of the cheapest pieces of produce you can buy in all of the world. That by the time it ships, speaking of shipping.
Yeah, Schulman did bet 280,000. Siever calls.
Said the spider to the fly.
Uh-oh.
Oh, now Schulman thinks he's good. And he's got 2 outs.
This time he checks, though. Now that he's got some showdown value. Looks like Lee might be right. He might think he's good. No longer has to bluff at this.
Does Scott Seaver look younger with or without the beard?
I think he looks younger with it.
I was just thinking I'd card the guy without the beard.
You got to card the guy with the beard because he's trying to look older.
Oh, okay.
You know, obviously, because I have a long history of working in speakeasies and
All in.
Seaver now moves all in on the turn, putting Shulman to a decision for all of his chips.
Well, this is a pretty interesting
You know
shove.
what? He thinks that Shulman, I think he's reading the hand perfectly. I think he thinks that Shulman just decided he had some showdown value.
I mean, that's about the only way you can make this shove. It's pretty tough to get called by worse here.
And he doesn't get snap called, so it's not sevens.
You know, Scott hoping he's got something like the hand he's got.
Exactly.
Or king, queen.
I mean, the fact that he
Really
he
funny,
C bets and then he checks when he got his showdown value, and Scott's thinking, yeah, he's got just enough that he might have to call here. I haven't been finding who's got the most chips. I mean, what's the
Scott Seaver's slightly got more than Nick Schulman.
He has him covered by about 100,000.
wow?
2 big blinds.
And how big is the pot? Is 3.7. Wow, wow, wow.
Does Nick Schulman want to be a hero? I think a lot of times Scott makes this shove, he's way ahead. I think some of the time he makes this shove, he's got really good equity. This would be quite the call. How often is he doing this with absolute air?
By the way, for those of you asking how long to the break, there is 7 minutes left on the level, and then there will be a 15-minute break.
I mean, but this is an amazing read by Scott. To know that he's got exactly the kind of hand that he can call with, or at least has to think about.
Yeah, Scott's just sitting over there going, I am a genius. I read this hand perfectly. Because if he gets a snap call or a snap fold, he's misread the hand. And, and he knows that Nick is hurting right now, and he goes, yes.
Right, there's no hand that Nick's thinking about right now that Scott isn't ahead of. Excuse the double negative.
You know what? This, guys, is what makes poker great. When the cards are not up. Look at Nick trying to go, what's happening here, man? As a matter of fact, he said, as soon as Scott shoved, he said, this is a weird hand.
Scott is capable of doing this.
With air?
With a hand worse than 10, certainly with air.
But, I mean, if he had something like ace-king of hearts, you know.
Sure, and I think that's something that Nick has obviously got to be considering if he's considering a call here.
Somebody quick run the numbers for us and tweet us and tell us how much equity ace-king of hearts has right now against Shulman's hand.
Well, it was like a coin flip on the flop.
I have a queen.
So what's that, between like 25 and 30 now? Shulman lets it go.
He did let it go.
Makes the right fold. I think the longer you wait there and then make the call and you're wrong, the more embarrassing it is.
Seaver now up to 3.74
You know
million.
what? I mean, give Nick full credit for laying that down. I mean, it wouldn't be too hard to just persuade yourself that, you know, you were in front or he had air or whatever.
So you planned the whole night?
You don't have to stay tuned long for the password. I'm going to give it to you now. It's Blom. B-L-O-M. Blom is the password, all lowercase.
Pretty good plan.
You know, I do think in that spot that Scott's going to be beating 2-10s more often
It's a genius plan.
than he's going to be bluffing. But, you know, it's just awfully tempting. You know, it's. I think Scott did a great job there to look polarized, even though he really wasn't. In Scott's mind, he may have been polarized.
By the way, those of you asking about the app that we've been talking about, I mean, I'm not sure about the Android store, but I assume it's the same. Certainly in the Apple App Store, it is PokerStars TV is the app you need.
Good fold.
Scott said good fold for once and meant it.
Button raised from
Should I
Doc
get my Lucky
Sands.
Plain X back?
Oh yeah, sorry.
You have unlimited access to him.
Appreciate it.
So to see where we stand with 5 players remaining. Sands still out in front. Seaver has closed the gap slightly.
Oh, yeah, here, give me that.
Carry Cat still the low man at the table. He got that double up. He was, what, a 12 big blind stack? So he doubled up to around 25 bigs, and then he just sort of has blinded his way down to 16.
Look, he is the first place finisher of the amateurs. There's something to be said for that.
Oh, this stuff is the worst.
Nah, with the bubbles in them?
Oh, they meant like the bad smelling stuff. Bad.
Folks, I know you're not going to believe this, but what they are discussing at the table is the relative quality of hand sanitizer.
I'm with that, though. You want to have one which doesn't have a perfume scent, that isn't too sticky, that kind of like just dries naturally.
How about this? You need to be you need to be a non-wimp and just deal with having dirty hands. It's called being a man.
Yeah, when you're sick in bed with the norovirus, you come back to me on that one.
I don't get sick because my body's been exposed to germs for all of its life, and I'm not like a pristine little boy in a bubble that rubs hand sanitizers on myself all the time.
If someone here...
When I get sick, it's from the old-fashioned way, drinking too much.
If someone here had the norovirus and they literally licked that glass and I said touch it, would you do it?
No.
But he had to think about it, James.
That's like asking me, like, okay, well, if I had someone loaded an AK-47 with 1 bullet, would you? Like, no, of course not.
Whoa, what do we have here? Sands has got 1 card, and it's a very good card in this context.
Absolutely. Seaver called Doc Sands' raise from the small blind, and he calls the continuation bet. Scott just with king high.
But if someone with the norovirus came in my room, I also wouldn't ask for hand sanitizer. I'd be like, cool.
Someone with the norovirus came in my room, I'd tell him to get out.
Yeah, you're not.
And then you sanitize the entire room, right?
Absolutely.
You're not giving up that sweet, though, are you?
Oh no.
So I'm new to this broadcasting thing, guys. Is there some reason why we don't see Sands' other card?
Yeah, he hasn't shown it to the camera.
Aha.
Buttons right.
We're just mix it up sometimes, Lee Jones.
I thought maybe we were supposed, like we're playing the game, like stump the guest. Like, what's his other card?
What is it, Lee? Go on, have a guess.
Do you think I'm John Duthie or what?
How about this?
Yeah, John Duthie would be like, I think it's the 10 of spades.
Wrong, it was the ace of clubs. But thank you for playing.
Should we call her out before we leave?
Guess what? The other card didn't matter.
Do you want us to call
3
her
was
before
good.
we leave?
So good.
And then
I
start
want to thank Giovanni for letting us know that there are direct download links on the PokerStars Twitter feed for both versions of the PokerStars TV app. So if you're not following PokerStars on Twitter, you bloomin' well should be.
I don't follow PokerStars on Twitter.
But that's okay, because PokerStars doesn't follow you on Twitter.
I don't think they do, actually.
Raise 110,000.
Sorry, guys, sorry.
I do tweet at them occasionally when I'm going to be late for work.
Oh, and answer to your question, by the way, Ace King of Hearts had 38.6% equity in that spot.
Bigger than I thought.
Actually, less than I thought. So, because the thing I was thinking was, is like either he was, significantly behind as he was, or even if it was. Go ahead.
No, we are.
No, we got 10,000 annies.
So that was the last hand of the level. The players are going to be going on a 15-minute break. And bear in mind that when they come back, the blinds will be up. So Carry Cats will have less than 15 bigs. They'll be playing 30-60 with a 10K ante. I would like to thank Lee Jones for stopping by.
It was great to be here. Thank you.
And we'll be back with 5-handed action from this 100K super high roller event from the PCA in 15.